And we are live. What is up, everybody? Aaron the dog is back with two of my panelists here. We have the return of Lucky Locks, getting them back into the breakdown game. That's what 11 out of 13, 10 out of 13 will do for you. Another Zhongli cash this past week. This past week was a six-legger, so there's a little history for the panel as well. And with me, as always, old reliable, the avatar himself, on stream with his face on Saturday nights with Pub Sports Now. Just my 2 cents. We'll go ahead and go around the panel. I'll start with my first guest, Lucky Locks. Welcome back, back-to-back weeks there. How you doing, man? Coming off a real
doing well, man. I appreciate you having me on again, as always. It's always fun to chop it up. Pretty decent heater going right now this year, so hopefully we can keep it rolling this week. Excited to chop it up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, I mean, everybody, plenty of people are on Aldo, but Lucky Locks somehow just commanded all of the respect from at least the people in our circle for getting the Aldo pick. I also had Aldo, so did some other people, but no one explained it as eloquently as Lucky Locks. So definitely glad to have you back, man. Yeah, we've been on a little bit of heater, both of us here in 2024. So working together always going to be helpful for both of us and our listeners. 2 cents. How you doing tonight? Coming off of a great success last week.
Yeah. First of all, thank you as always for having me. This show is one of the highlights of my week. I always say that, but it is for good reason. Very happy to be back on panel once again with Lucky 2 weeks in a row. Dude, I'll just go ahead and say this now publicly. I can't thank you enough for that Aldo play, dude. You truly sold me on that, and it worked out nicely, dude. I had a great night, and that was definitely part of it, dude. Cash the fucking Zhongli, the 6-leg Zhongli live, dude. So, yeah, man, it was a great week for this show and everyone on it. Dude, me and Lou were both on Anthony Smith. So, yeah, the boys fucking kicked ass on this show last week. And, yeah, looking to make it 2 weeks in a row, boys. Got UFC St. Louis.
Yep, UFC St. Louis, headlined with a capital H by Derrick Lewis and Rodrigo Nascimento in the main event. Praying that doesn't go 5 rounds, but knowing MMA here in 2024, if you're not betting the decision on this fight just a little bit with the number it's at, you're just not paying attention. I know that I cashed on the Almeida decision against Derrick Lewis way back. That was a plus 1,600. I think Jack Attack got it at like plus 20, like 400 or something. But either way, it makes those boring heavyweight 5-round decisions a lot better, and you don't need to put a lot down. Just saying. It's like Zhongli in itself. Let's go ahead and start on this one. Hopefully, Lou will be joining us along the way, but if not, the three of us will do just fine. First fight. This is a fight that I don't want to, call out the coin, but this just seems like a fight that, like, when the coin was created, I'd be like, oh, yeah, for, like, J.J. Aldrich and Veronica Hardy type of fights. Because, we've got the rise of Veronica Hardy. Obviously, she had that decision to Bia Malecki 4 years ago. Then she came back and beats Killa Miller by decision, unforgettable. And then has a split against Jinlin Horth coming off of a bad knee injury at well into her 30s as well. I really was excited about Horth coming in, but I just think that her body just gave out before she was ready for the big leagues. JJ Aldrich, kind of a on-again, off-again type of fighter. She fights a lot, loses to better levels of competition, beats the lower levels of competition here. She's got decent boxing, good enough pressure, defensive wrestling, I guess. I don't think Veronica Hardy is very good at all. I don't think she should be a favorite here. And, this is just one where the line should be reversed. So maybe this is to get a lot more people to play J.J. Aldrich than they should. Probably a fight that will end in split. It could be very close. No one's going to get a finish in this fight. But J.J. Aldrich at plus 120. I'm considering playing, but I'm just not that desperate. So other than my full card play. For my pick, I'll take Aldridge by decision, though. I just think she's faced a way better level of competition. I'm not sold that Veronica Hardy is back or even should be a thing. So, Lucky Locks, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it does kind of seem like people are getting pretty high on Veronica Hardy all of a sudden after beating, Gianna Miller is really not good. Jamie Lynn Horthan, kind of a tooth and nail decision. And, she won 2 in a row. She's still not 500 in the UFC. She's 3-4. Aldrich is 9-5 in the UFC. She's 3-2 over the last 5 with wins that included, Montana De La Rosa, Jillian Robertson, and the losses were, Lipsky and Blanchfield. So, I don't really know what would compel you to want to bet Hardy as a favorite in this fight. I'm definitely not compelled to do that. I think it's a pretty clear dogger pass in the first fight. I think Aldrich is a better fighter. I think I agree with you. I'd probably make her a slight favorite in this one as well.
Yeah. And then in Mushroom saying, I'm not desperate. I'm a degenerate. No Lou, no view. If you want to leave because Lou's not here, I'm not going to stop you. I totally understand. I'd actually encourage you if that's how you feel. 2 cents. What's your thoughts? Is the coin coming out, Harvey Dent?
I mean, old TC has a little bit of a flair for the dramatic, and I'd like to try and build some fucking suspense, but the writing's on the fucking wall. Y'all know what time it is, boys. It checks all the fucking boxes. It meets all the criteria. Chick fight. Yeah, meh to low level. Don't know. Don't fucking care. It is coin time. I mean, it's such a fucking 50-50.
This coin's going to make you pick Veronica Hardy.
Is it? How is it possible that you have like 2 chicks that are both like overrated at the same time? But 2 years ago, no one would fucking say peep about either one of these bitches doing a fucking thing in the UFC. But now all of a sudden it's like, oh, they got a chance. No, they fucking don't. They're both jabronis. I don't give a fuck. The coin will speak. Now, but I agree with Lucky Locks. It's dogger pass from a betting perspective. I think if you are going to bet, if you have to bet, if you're just a helpless fucking degenerate, you just bet Aldridge or just fucking pass. But yeah, let's do it. Now, Veronica Hardy is the favorite. I usually make the favorite heads, so I'll just make Aldridge tails, and the coin will speak. Make sure y'all smash the like button for Aaron. Oh, it was a mighty flip, and I barely fucking caught it. Here we go. Veronica fucking Hardy.
All right. Sharp coin going with the ever-improving Veronica Hardy. Congratulations if you're betting on this fight. Right now, I got nothing. I would consider Aldridge, but still plus 120, not enough for me. Minus 500 to the over 2.5 in this fight. Minus 500. I repeat, minus 500. So, should be a good one. Really excited for this one, but two of us are leaning JJ. The coin is leaning with Hardy, but yeah, fuck that.
Dude, the coin's been kind of getting the fuck put to it though. It picked her Nesta last week. Yeah, I get it was a close fight. So
it was a close fight, but I did not agree with the coin last week. I don't agree with the coin once again here. So next fight here, Jared Gooden, Kevin Jussier here at 170. This is a very good fight, honestly. I think it's closer than the odds would indicate, as they say. I don't love how high up and clear out Jussier's chin is. And with Gooden, he's got that real strong power. I think if he does connect with the chin at any point, I think in this fight, there is that possibility of the knockout. But I think the minutes in between then, Jared Gooden's going to be losing a lot of them. I could see Jussier going to some judo throws, getting some positions, even working the grappling himself more in this fight to stay a little safe. Even on the feet, I think that while the power is with Gooden, I don't think Jussier is completely outmatched there in the power. I think he could really frustrate Gooden with kind of the distance and the movement. He's going to have a huge reach advantage as well. Early on the week, I did think Gooden was a dog that I could get on. I saw the plus 200 out there, and I do think it is a little wide, but at the end of the day, I do feel like Jusei is the significantly better side here. I am worried about the possible chin issues. I am worried that he's, kind of what we see is what we've gotten at this point. He's 31 years old. See kickboxing, but I think he's good enough to get by a guy like Gooden. But if Gooden starches him or even, gets a finish in some way, it wouldn't shock me either. But I'll go with Jusei. And I think that he'd be smart to use the grappling and try to submit him. So I'll say submission. But even in the last fight, Turman was like rocking Gooden on several occasions before Turman did Turman things. And so, I mean, if one of these fighters is going to benefit from no USADA, it would be Jared Gooden, I would say. So there's that X factor. But I'm going to go with Jusei here. But I think that the line's pretty wide, so it's going to keep me from really getting involved too much here. 2 cents.
So I did bet the night train Jared Gooden. I did get him early, pre-flop, as they say, plus 200. And I'm having some of the worst fucking buyer's remorse ever, boys. I did kind of feel that about Anthony Smith last week, though, just for what that's worth, which is probably not much. Yeah, I do think it's close on the feet. I think it's going to be the power of Gooden versus probably the way more technical striking of Jusei. But, dude, Jusei has beaten no one. And, yeah, like Della Maddalena injury, injury TKO to him is not a bad loss necessarily. But I don't know. I think there are some questions about his striking defense. But I get your point. Like Gooden's probably going to be getting chewed up for large portions of it. But I'm taking Gooden at plus 200. I think the damage could steal some rounds, and he's, if anyone's going to be cheering for one fighter, it's probably going to be Gooden in St. Louis over the fucking French New Zealand dude. Just call me crazy, but yeah, I think Gooden could steal a split. Landing a couple big shots in a couple rounds, or could potentially start Jusei. But yeah, I'm already starting to regret it. Like, I could see Jusei just fucking, as Noah likes to say, just electric sliding on him, like winning a decision, like looking like a pretty clear, like 30-27. But let's go Night Train. Just fucking spark him out, Bobo.
Yeah, I mean, plus 200 is where you should be getting this. Right now it's at plus 180. Getting more close to accurate, but Lucky, what's your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, we've seen Jusei come in with a nice little 2-0 start in the UFC, although, like one of the wins was Kiefer Crosby, so treated him accordingly, though, first round finish, got a unanimous decision over Kanan Song next time out. I think he's got a pretty good frame. I think he's a pretty decent striker. I mean, he put up 134 significant strikes on Song, so he gets a lot of volume out there for the judges to score, and a lot more volume than we typically see from Gooden. So, Gooden's got some power in his shots for sure, but I don't know. I kind of feel like Jusei's got a pretty blocky build. Without a lot of evidence, I kind of feel like he's durable enough in this one. And Gooden just doesn't really project super high to me. I mean, he's 2-4 in the promotion. Definitely fought the better competition, but I don't feel like he was particularly competitive with the upper echelon of the opponents that he faced. Did get a nice win over Wellington Tremont last time out, but I got to go with Jusei to win here. I just think he's the better fighter, but minus 200 doesn't get me out of bed on this one.
No, yeah, I pretty much agree completely here. It's not one I'm looking. Well, I think it could be a fun fight, honestly. So, but I do think that the Jusei fade is coming. So, if you're on it here, I don't totally understand.
Dude, it wouldn't stun me at all if this goes 3 either. The way Jusei fights, if he's going to fight smart, maybe he doesn't try and test the power. And I think he's the better long range striker. I think his kicks are much better, but Gooden could end up being the better wrestler here. That old Euro trash grappling could maybe bite Kevin the butt, but we'll see.
Yeah. I'll be interested. We'll know. Yeah. I mean, Gooden is definitely a guy that, if you're at all decent at 170, you should be able to kind of school. If you're not, well, no. So it's a good fight, I think, for at this point. But I'm not getting involved too much. Next fight, 125, really good fight. Jake Hadley versus Charles Johnson. Probably one of the fights I've been more back and forth than any on this card. I'm a huge Charles Johnson fan. Always have been, always will be, especially in the LFA. Really, just I think one of the best champions ever come from that organization, which now people would laugh at, but go back and watch those fights, the Yuma Horiyuchi fight, other fights, really just continue to improve, put a lot into his game. Just another guy that I just wish he was a little bit younger. At 33, time's really running out. But I think in a fight here with Hadley, I see this fight being on the feet. I see this fight being very, very high volume. I see both guys having a lot of good moments. I've seen a lot of people saying, the takedown defense of Charles Johnson, that is an issue. And if Hadley goes to the wrestling, I do think that's the best route. I just don't know if he can go and sustain that route in the fight. And if it's on the feet, it's anybody's fight. I think this could be a very good split candidate for one. It's just a fight I think that should be very close. And Charles Johnson's going to be fighting with a little extra juice in St. Louis. He really is. And I do think that could be a difference in this type of fight. I think if it's on the feet, I do slightly favor Charles because of the distance. I think the speed also could be a factor with Hadley and Hadley's work to the body. But yeah, it's a close fight. It's a split. Give me the plus money of Charles Johnson by split decision here. But I really like this fight. I do acknowledge the grappling wrestling of Hadley could be a route, but I don't see it. I think it's going to be on the feet. I think it's going to be pretty close, and these guys match up really well. So Johnson, yeah, as Noah says, electric slide merchant, but he's really good at it, and I think he could do it here. This is the bigger octagon here in St. Louis as well, which is a huge advantage for Charles Johnson, in my opinion. Lucky. Regional expert.
Well, we've talked about Charles Johnson a lot.
We've talked about Hadley probably back in the day on Cage Warriors.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, these are two guys that I've kind of always liked. Hadley's from Birmingham. My grandparents are from there, so I've always kind of rooted for him to do well. And then Johnson is a guy, as you know, that I liked on the regionals, watched all his LFA fights live, bet on him a lot. And that title fight with Mota, where he KO'd him in the 5th round, is one that really stuck with me. That was an awesome fight. But both of these guys have kind of, had their struggles in the UFC. Hadley's 2-2, Johnson's 3-4. They both lost to Cody Durden, who is a tough customer, kind of an underrated guy at 125. Both of Hadley's losses have been to, solid guys, Durden and Nascimento. Both of his wins, conversely, haven't really been the highest level guys. Malcolm Gordon and Carlos Candelario. I know everybody thought Candelario was amazing for some reason like 2 or 3 years ago, but he kind of disproved that pretty quickly. I mean, Johnson has some excusable losses like Durden, Makayev, split with Ode. Esteban's pretty decent. Has a win over Jalgashu Magulov that he probably didn't win, but he is coming up a huge win over Azat Maxim in his last fight. He recently became a father. He's at home in St. Louis. You can see him throwing out the first pitch at the Cardinals game a few days ago. Former track athlete, great cardio, a little more activity on the feet. I could see him pacing Hadley to a decision win here. I think I probably do have to lean slightly to the Hadley side. However, I just think he has a few more tools in the toolbox, good striker, good grappler. But, I kind of like what you're saying. I really wouldn't be too surprised to see Charles Johnson pull this one out at home. I think this is a close fight. So I don't think I'm going to be getting involved on either side.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if this isn't in St. Louis, I'm not looking at this fight as closely for Johnson. But with all things considered, and Johnson looks pretty good coming into this week too. He really does look, and I know he's always taking his conditioning seriously. I feel like he doesn't get a lot of credit also for the work he did over in Thailand. All the extra kind of things he's done that other fighters I feel like sometimes get credit for. He's not gotten as much credit for it. And Hadley he's another one of these guys from Cage Warriors that's kind of shown up on the States side in the UFC and not looked like that same guy. He's not made that Ian Gary transformation. And so I'm not sure if he ever will, but yeah, 2 cents. What's your thoughts on this one?
All right, so I do have quite a few. Come on, Juan. I mean, bro, come on now. I would think you've been coming around here a little longer than that. You know what time it is. But yeah, man. Well, first of all, I'll just say my pick is Charles Johnson. But let me ask you. I mean, y'all are all pretty much more experienced in the gambling itself than me. So let me ask you guys. And maybe I'm just in a bubble here, but it seems like everyone's on Charles Johnson. Like, there's all this Johnson love, but like the line really hasn't like moved a ton, and it almost seems like the line should be flipped. Like, if I had to uh line this myself, I would make Johnson like a -150 opening, and it's just is that what everyone else is thinking, or just it just seems weird, man. This line is really weird. This fight is weird.
I mean, Hadley's had a lot of promise on him for a long time. He's also,
I've kind of been
27 years old.
Hadley.
And Johnson can't stop a takedown. That's the ultimate narrative.
Yeah, what do you think, Lucky? Why do you think the line is like it is? If everyone, I mean, is it just Charles being the dog, and everyone is just like, what the fuck?
I mean, I think part of it is I don't think this is like a massively high volume market on this card. Early prelim, I feel like I don't think it's like something that it's taking like the majority of the money on the card, which would cause it to move a little bit. But like it has moved a little bit in the favor of Charles Johnson, hasn't it?
Yep.
Or did I just make that up? Yeah, like it's come in a little bit. Like at one point he was like +140. So I feel like they are respecting the Johnson money a little bit. I just don't think it's a hugely high volume market. And like Aaron said, Jake Hadley had like a lot of hype coming in. So he's always kind of a guy that it seems like they hang him as a favorite in most of his fights. I'd have to go back and look at the history, but that's kind of my take on the line, I guess.
Yeah, and Hadley is small. I mean, a lot of what broke Degenerate is, I haven't seen this guy here before, but definitely agree with a lot of what broke Degenerate saying, even mentioning the scrambling against Bakayev. Yeah.
It feels like a trap, man. It feels like Charles Johnson is like, obviously, it's like a fucking juicy cheeseburger, boy. I just want to reach out and grab it. Like, oh my God, just Johnson definitely seems like the side. In St. Louis? Come on now. Like, I think he's the better boxer. Like, he's got a reach advantage. It just seems like it's obvious, but it just feels like a trap too. It's weird. But yeah, thank y'all for the input, and just weird one. I'm passing.
+130, -155 on the Hadley side right now. One of the better fights on the card. Moving on to the next one. This fight should not be in the UFC, but here we are. Anyways, I am not a Trey Waters believer in the slightest. I will say that. He got into the UFC, unfortunately, off a Jalen Fuller win. I am a huge Jalen Fuller fan. I have accepted that the gentleman's time in the UFC, it's never going to happen. He trips at the finish line every time when he has a chance to make that showing, including against Trey Waters. And then Trey Waters follows that up with a win in his debut against Josh Quinlan. And now he gets Billy Goff. Like, goddamn, man. He's going to be on a 2-fight win streak with people, like, actually talking about him being legit. Sure, Billy Goff could have some wild kind of barrage and connect with a flurry and put him down, but Billy Goff might be one of the only guys who I like less than Trey Waters at welterweight. I feel like Trey Waters should be able to kind of roll with the punches, frustrate him with his length and his funkiness, and then eventually punch him out and probably get a decision, but frustrate Billy Goff. Billy Goff could get a finish somewhere in the first or second round, but I want nothing to do with this fight. Pass. Trey Waters by decision, I guess, but pass. Locks.
Yeah, so it's a second UFC appearance for both guys. I mean, Trey Waters is way bigger frame-wise. And in my opinion, he had a more impressive regional run, which isn't to say I was super high on him coming into the UFC. But, a win over Ben Bennett, that's a really good win. If you know the regional landscape, and Jalen Fuller as well is a nice win too. And I mean, Goff also had a pretty good regional career as well. I mean, Justin Sumter is a decent win. He was a 2-weight champion in CES at 170, 185. Waters had a good showing against Josh Quinlan in his UFC debut. Not that that's saying a whole lot. Goff had a really nice debut as well, KOing Kinoshita in the first round. Both of these guys have displayed a lot of finishing ability thus far. I feel like Trey Waters has a bit of an edge in the striking, and I think the long reach could probably help him out there as well. Goff probably going to want to crowd and be on the inside, maybe mixing some grappling. I don't really have the best read on this fight. Kind of a lot of unknowns on both sides. I do favor Waters, I guess, but I'm not really super interested in this one betting wise.
Yeah, no. I have not been a Trey Waters fan from the LFA days, so it's always weird when these guys kind of make a run. Another guy with Cage Warriors making the run right now is Oban Elliott, who I never was a fan of with Cage Warriors, and now he's in the UFC. Both guys seem to get amazing kind of matchups. Yeah, plus 450 on the decision for Waters. I don't hate that play at all. 2 cents. Do you have a line on Goff here for us?
Let me just fucking copy paste everything that Lucky just said and add that I think if anyone uses the grappling a little bit more, it's going to be Waters. I could see just kind of like a BMFing here, but yeah, give me Waters. Want nothing to do with it. Pass.
Yeah, well said. You don't want. If you have a good take on this fight, congratulations. I don't.
Seems to be quite a bit of Billy Goff love out there, boys. I don't know if that's a good sign or bad sign, but I have
honestly like if you're gonna fade Trey Waters, sign me up. So plus 135 to Billy Goff, minus 160 to Trey Waters. Yeah, I'm gonna just pass on this one all the way around. But whoever wins this fight doesn't really tell me a whole lot about them moving forward. Next fight here. We have Mother on Mother's Day weekend. Tisha Torres, who I think had a child this year with Mr. Raquel Pennington, taking on Tabitha Ricci here, who Tabitha Ricci, she fights and in between fighting does like Pilates and things like that, and hangs out with like that blonde boxer guy who I'm sure 2 cents can tell us about him. I think he's like King Callum Walsh. I don't know if he's good or not. He seems like he's not, but either way.
Oh my God, the Walsh brothers, Jesus Christ.
Either way, this is a fight here that if Tisha Torres comes in at all prepared, I think she should kind of school Tabitha Ricci, like badly. Like the types of fighters Tisha Torres has fought and beaten throughout her Invicta and UFC career, she's so much better, I think, on the feet. Tabitha Ricci, like, used her defensive grappling to beat Jillian Robertson. But, offensively, I don't know if she really is going to be able to use it in this fight to beat Tisha. If it's a kickboxing fight, Tisha Torres is better. As long as she comes in prepared, why doesn't Tisha Torres kind of beat Tabitha? This is the second women's fight on the card where the line is reversed. Tisha Torres by decision for me because Tisha Torres isn't getting a finish. I just think Tabitha Ricci's very bad at fighting. Just my 2 cents. Is the coin coming out again?
What up, Mick? What up, General? I'll see y'all in there. Everybody smash the like button for Aaron. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't. Yeah. Again, these are like the most fucking obvious ones. I can't even fucking like do any kind of build up or bury the lead or nothing. Just like, yeah, it's coin time. But it is. So who's the favorite again? Who's the favorite?
Tabitha Ricci is the favorite.
God damn. Yeah. Go ahead and fucking parlay Tabitha Ricci up. Just fucking max bet her. Put her in 17 fucking parlays. Yeah. So we're gonna make Tabitha Ricci heads and
This is the coin parlay. You should do this if you're at home. If you have the parlay of Veronica Hardy and Tabitha Ricci, you're sick.
That's Aaron saying that. I do not co-sign that whatsoever. The coin is just for fights like this.
It's for like a plus 170 for Tabitha Ricci and Veronica Hardy parlay.
So anybody, Jesus Christ of Nazareth. So for anyone that's new here, this checks all the fucking boxes again. 1, I'm not betting it. 2, chick fight. 3, meh to low level. 4, don't know who's going to win. 5, most importantly, do not give a good goddamn. So let's just see what the coin says. Tabitha Ricci kind of, like Aaron said, kind of inexplicably the favorite will be heads, and then Tisha, the tornado or whatever.
Tisha by split all day. That's an auto bet.
Here we go, boys. The coin will speak.
And if anybody ever disrespects this channel and calls it not legitimate.
Oh my God. It is Tisha fucking Torres, boys.
There we go, coin. I love splitting with the coin. Your coin parlay for the week is Tisha Torres and Veronica Hardy. That's got to get you a plus two something.
That is Aaron's creation. I have nothing to do with that. Just let that be known.
Mushroom,
I take no
calm
responsibility.
down. He would never rig a coin flip ever. How dare you? That's just the coin.
How do you even do that? I know I'm stoned, but like I cannot wrap my head around how you would rig a coin.
Yeah, but either way, that's some good stuff there. Thank you, 2 cents. Minus 150 currently to Tabitha Ricci. What are we doing? Plus 125 on Tisha Torres. By the way, your coin parlay of Tisha Torres and Veronica Hardy, that gets you a nice, cool plus 285. So
if you are betting that, if you are betting the coin, if you are betting literal coin flips from my fucking ass, congratulations. You are a helpless fucking DJ. So yeah, take a bow.
Juan Cruz has locked it in. Congratulations. Yeah, we're gonna move on to the next fight here, but yeah, keep the do going for pretty much the whole prelims. But right here, Terrence McKinney, Esteban Rivovics. What the fuck is going to happen in this fight? It's a Terrence McKinney fight, so we're probably going to see McKinney come out, put his opponent in danger in the first 90 seconds, and then fall off of a cliff and be put away at probably the 6-minute mark by Esteban Rivovics. If you're playing Esteban here, I just go ahead and play him live because let's just make sure he survives the barrage of a no USADA Terrence McKinney in round 1 because that could get real ugly really fast. But honestly, Esteban's been really showed his toughness against Loic in that debut where he got rocked early and kind of really fought hard throughout that fight. And then in the following fight against Kamwela Kirk, though, he showed improvement, but that was 9 months ago. This seems like a spot that a lot of people are expecting to get right from McKinney. For me, it's just McKinney over and over again, and I think it happens again here, but you could definitely put him away in the first round. If you're betting Esteban Rivovics, I don't know how you don't wait till round 2 to make sure he's alive for it. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Rivovics round 2 KO, but I understand the McKinney side if you're going with it completely. So, 2 cents.
So let me address Mushroom in the chat. Mushroom, if you don't want to believe me, that's fine. The coin has had a very high success rate, and I am showing it. I'll tell you what, Mushroom. If you want to see my face, you come Pub Sports Radio Saturday night, Bo. I'm gonna be there. That's right. Pub Sports Radio that your beloved Lou guest appears on sometimes. So there you go, Mushroom. There's your fucking validity for the coin flip. I hope you're fucking happy. You fucking degenerate. I love you though. Smash the like button for Aaron. Now, this fight, dude, I feel like I was tempted to bet McKinney early in the week. I feel like he's live to either torch Ribovic or maybe even squeak out a decision. I'm not so sure that he dies. Like, I've seen Ribovic, people make the dude out to be this killer, and then he kind of just takes it the distance when I don't think he will. So I don't know, dude. I'm gonna pick Ribovic with some trepidation, but yeah, I'm not betting it whatsoever. It kind of feels like a McKinney or pass spot. There's no way I would fucking parlay Ribovic, but yeah, I'm gonna take him. I feel like, yeah, if it's just striking, if they're standing on the feet for 3 rounds, he'll either knock McKinney out or win a like Mushroom would say 3rd round / decision.
Yeah, fair enough. McKinney or Ribovic side for you, Lucky?
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely going to be a fun fight. Every McKinney fight is fun. His whole career, they've been fun, be it UFC or otherwise. The LFA head kicks were fun too. He's 5-3 in the UFC, never been the full distance, and I'm pretty sure he's never even seen halfway through the second round either. I don't think the over 1.5 has ever cashed in 8 Terrence McKinney UFC fights. The last 3 wins, not really the most impressive names, but the 2 ones before that for Vol and Ziam were decent. He does have humongous power in the first round. Not a lot of cardio, and I feel like he kind of has to go all out for the finish early because the whole take it slow, conserve your energy thing does not seem to work for him very well. I don't think that's really a viable option. And Ribovic is making his third UFC appearance on Saturday. He showed a ton of finishing ability on the regionals and contender series. So far, both of his UFC fights gone to decision. He did knock down Rajabov though. He split those fights 1-1. Nice performance against Kamuela Kirk. Threw out a ton of volume that fight. He showed us he can go 15 minutes hard, and McKinney has never shown that. Ribovic, we've seen him taken down before, and McKinney does have a great wrestling for a few minutes or so. That's something to note, but I can just see Ribovic start to take over this one as the fight extends. Could also see him getting an early finish as well. I just think Ribovic is dangerous for the full fight, whereas McKinney is, I feel like his win equity is very front-loaded. So I have to side with Ribovic here, but I think this is going to be a really fun one to watch.
Do you think the line moves it off if McKinney wins the first round?
I think I think it will, but I don't think you would be wise to pile on Terrence McKinney in that instance. I think probably.
I'm saying can you get Ribovic at plus money after one if he loses?
Honestly, maybe, man, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, you would think it's not that far-fetched considering how dangerous McKinney is in the first round and considering that he typically goes for it, whether that's him not being able to pace himself or just legitimately thinking he can get his opponent out there.
If Ribovic gets 10-8'd in the first round, I'm live betting him no matter what. I just have to based on what McKinney's shown over and over and over again. So it's pretty much I'm leaving it out of there otherwise.
What do you think, Mushroom? Ribovic third round decision?
Plus 135 to McKinney, minus 160 to Ribovic here. It'll be an interesting fight. I don't know how good Ribovic really is yet. Hasn't fought 9 months in the decision. Kamuela Kirk, a guy who I don't really rate highly at all. So McKinney might be able to get a bounce back here. All right. We're to the featured prelim. This is one of MMA Twitter's. First of all, MMA Twitter has 4 or 5 fights of the week this week because pretty much every underdog is live throughout this card. Honestly, I really think so. So I feel like so many different people just have their dog or the fight they feel just sold on. This one, I feel like, is the MMA Twitter fight of the Twitter fights of the week. Because you have Chase Hooper, who can't throw a strike to save his life. And is he a wrestler? I get he's grappler, but is he a wrestler? I don't really know. Versus Borshev, who has, really, really good stand-up, but can he grapple at all? Can he stop a takedown, especially against a guy like Mike Davis? No. Show me the similarities between Mike Davis and Chase Hooper. I'm just going to say this right off the bat. I'm on Slavakos. I've been on Slavakos the entire time that this has been matched up. I think that he's going to severely hurt Chase Hooper's legs, body, and then his face. I think he's just going to be pretty methodical, be ready for kind of takedowns to weird entries. I don't think Chase Hooper is going to have success in the grappling here. If he does and he submits them, congratulations. I'll live with it. The larger octagon as well, I don't think is going to help Chase Hooper. I think that, this is going to be a fight where once the takedowns aren't successful, it's going to get real ugly, I think, for Chase Hooper. I think he's going to get knocked out by Borshev here. And, Borshev, I just think knows what he needs to stop here. Over at Team Alpha Male, I think they're going to have him well prepared. He's pretty much his entire career been trying to prepare for the grappling. And I just don't think Chase Hooper's this Division I wrestling prospect that's going to cause these problems. The line is going toward Hooper, and I love it. Can double or triple down on Borshev. I think Borshev is a minus 200 favorite that is now at minus 145. So we'll see who looks like the fool on Saturday, but I like Borshev by KO inside the first 2 rounds. Lucky Lux.
This is like an old school UFC matchup right here. This is Hoist Gracie versus Art Jimerson vibes right here.
Yes, it really is.
Hooper is a very good grappler with no striking to speak of. Borshev is a very good striker with no grappling to speak of. Hooper's younger, taller, longer. He's 5-3 in the UFC, 4-5 by finish. Was only finished once out of 3 losses, which was when Steve Garcia tried to kill the poor guy. Hooper doesn't have the most impressive wins, but he has succeeded in the grappling with good grapplers. I mean, like Levitt is a good jiu-jitsu player. Hooper was able to dominate him in that world, and also had very competitive, like strictly grappling matches with Aljamain Sterling and Hatem Moicano. But unfortunately for him on Saturday, he can get punched in the face. Borshev on the other side is really not a guy that I think is any good. I mean, he's a good striker. I think he's a horrible grappler. Like Chris Duncan got him down. Dakota Bush got him down twice in a fight that, lasted under 4 minutes. Diakese and Mike Davis, obviously, Sajikov 4 times. And those guys are better wrestlers than Chase Hooper, for sure. You're right. But Hooper is a better submission grappler than those guys. I mean, Dakota Bush, this is where I get worried about Slava. Dakota Bush failed to take down into a back take on this guy so easily. Diakese did it too. I mean, I've seen Borshev give up mount hilariously easy with 0 resistance, and I feel like he could get in trouble if Hooper gets to those positions. I mean, if he doesn't, he's going to get knocked out on the feet for sure. I just don't really think very highly of Borshev at 2-2-1 in the UFC. I don't think he has a ton of UFC fights in his future. I'm not interested in betting him as a favorite. I mean, both of these guys know what they got to do on Saturday. We're going to see who's able to do it. There's just certain things I've seen on tape that make me not want to lay chalk on Borshev, but I wish good luck to everybody that's getting involved with this one on Saturday. I'm going to be watching from the sidelines.
Yeah, well said. 2 cents.
Well, I appreciate your good tidings, Lucky, because I'm going to fucking need them. I'm going to be the dumbass. I'm that fucking idiot that fucking parlayed Slava. He's in my 2-piece, didn't think about it too hard, chalky bet that I make at the beginning of every week. But in fairness, last week I fucking nailed it. So here we go again. Yeah, I mean, you broke it down pretty fucking well. There's not much I can add as far as the analysis or a technical breakdown. But yeah, dude, I just think you look at the guys Hooper's been fighting. Yes, he's an incredible grappler. It wouldn't stun me at all if he hit a knee bar or just fucking completely tore Slava's shit. Just a whole fucking knee, ACL, MCL, both meniscuses. And yeah, but dude, it is a total fucking mismatch on the feet. He's definitely the hardest hitting, best striker that Chase Hooper's fought. And the last, best striker that he fought, Steven Peterson, fucked him up and knocked him out too. The difference here is I think Slava can one-punch him to sleep. I think, and Hooper does like to stand and trade. And we've seen, Hooper's striking has improved, but he's pretty much a one-trick pony grappling specialist. And we've seen guys like that get exposed pretty much since fucking Hoist Gracie. Dude, fucking Ryan Hall, it could kind of look like fucking Vulcan and Paul Craig, except he just fucking gets starched. But yeah, give me Slava. I think Cali Kid Faber will have him ready with the takedown defense because Hooper is not the best wrestler. I think he's going to be doing a lot of it's going to be Imanari Roll City. I'd be curious to see what some of the props are in that, some of the over-unders for Imanari rolls and him just fucking falling to his back and shit. But yeah. Give me Slava by knockout. When I bet it, it has come in a little bit, but I parlayed him up at 155. So yeah, get your parlay busted with me, or let's fucking knock this little fucking nerd's head off. Let's go.
Yeah, it's very closely lined, I think, for a reason. But whoever does win is going to look like they have an extra 0 behind their odds. I feel like just whoever wins is. I think I don't think this is going to be a close fight. I just don't see it being a close fight. Whoever wins. I
Agreed.
think has it go their way, very much so. So On to the main card, Roble Despaigne taking on Waldo Cortez Acosta here. Just keep that circus music going because, this is glorified LFA fight happening in the UFC. I'm not a big Waldo Cortez Acosta believer, as in not at all. I really don't like what I've seen out of him. The Lima fight was very much not impressive. Basically, the first time he fought a fighter where he did more than just box against him, and he struggles with kicks to the body, struggles with kicks to the leg. Price struggles with kicks to the head. Those are three things that I think Roble does in this fight here. We don't know a lot about Roble at this point outside of the first few minutes. He's knocking everybody out. What he did against Parisian was just kind of sloppy. He's falling down on kicks, swinging absolutely wildly, but definitely has no doubt some power. But the thing is, Salsa Boy is going to not pose anything but some boxing movement, some decent volume, but doesn't throw really a whole lot else out at Roble here. He's not going to test the grappling. I think he's going to stand in the pocket and someone's going to sleep. And I don't see Roble being put to sleep by Waldo Costa. I just don't. We'll see. I get it that the line sucks here, but it's just an athletic and technical and skill mismatch here between these two. And the 9-1 is very kind of lacks real indication of how good Waldo Acosta is, in my opinion. Knocking out Lucas Brzeski the way he did, congratulations. That Andrei Arlovski fight was an affront to the world, and Roble is going to punish him for it. So I'm going to keep picking Roble against low levels of competition until he shows me otherwise. Here, this number, I'm not looking to do much more than possible Zhang Li action, but it is what it is, and he's probably going to knock him out. So, 2 cents.
I actually hope that Despaigne is in the Zhang Li because I'm completely on the other side here. I think this dude is a total fucking fraud. He's a fucking Taekwondo guy. Yes, he does have power, but I will absolutely push back with you saying that he has a technical superiority. With the feet, with the kicks, absolutely.
Yeah, that's
dude,
right.
Yeah, for sure. He's a legit Taekwondo practitioner, and for as big as he is, it's super impressive. He's definitely on the south. You better believe that shit. But
no USADA.
Oh yeah. USADA. It's a whole new world. But man, I got Cortez Acosta plus 170. Let's fucking go, Mushroom. I seen you in there. So yeah, let's ride on Waldo. Where's Waldo? Fucking Donde está Despaigne when he gets into the second round, because I know Waldo can stick.
You're holding his success against.
Let's just hear me out. Good Lord. I've seen him win a decision. Can Despaigne? I don't know. Maybe not. It's a question mark. But 0-0, 0-0, 0-0, 1-0. Fucking Josh Parisian. Nah, I'm good laying chalk on that motherfucker. And you watch some of his fights, dude. His defense is terrible, and he's getting tagged clean by some of these guys before he sparks them. And Cortez Acosta has been knocked out a few times in boxing. But dude, if you go back and look, they're pretty decent boxers, man. Sonny Kanto ain't no fucking punk. He's undefeated, 28 heavyweight. He's kind of a decent, legit prospect. But yeah, man, give me Cortez Acosta plus 170. I think he's going to punch a hole in this fucking fraud's head, but it could totally go the other way. I get it. I get a smart man passes here. This fight's an accident waiting to happen. But yeah, I think Despaigne is a total fucking fraud and just a big fucking galoot. And Cortez Acosta could, knock him out or maybe win a decision. So let's fucking go.
Yeah, I think they've lined this fight perfectly to get everybody's money. Lucky Locks.
We got the Battle of the Caribbean Sea here, boys. We got Dominican Republic versus Cuba. Acosta, we got the former baseball pitcher versus the former Olympic Taekwondo athlete. Acosta's 3 years younger. Despaigne is the size. He's going to have that over basically everybody. And Acosta is like a pretty solid heavyweight fighter. You know, like guys that aren't super functional at the weight class, he can beat. I did lay a pretty big chalk on him against Bresky at like minus 180 because Bresky is not good at MMA. But
True.
Acosta is just a bit one-dimensional, you know. Like I think he's quite good at that one dimension if it's just strictly boxing. The Arlovsky fight, like I thought that honestly might have. You could even say that would go the other way. I feel like that's a really unpopular opinion. That was just what I thought as someone with no money on it, watching it. He did get outstruck in the last 2 rounds on volume-wise, just on the stats, though. He
I
does
agree.
not check leg kicks very well. Always gets that landed heartily to the legs, literally in every single UFC fight. And I kind of think that what the matchmakers are seeing here when they book this is that he is a good boxer, doesn't really engage in the kicking much at all, either offensively or defensively. Doesn't seem to have much of an answer for that. And, you know, Despain being a Taekwondo guy, that's all about the kicks. That's kind of what I think the matchmakers were looking at when they put this one together. I'm not super high on Acosta. I mean, we haven't seen all that much from Despain, but like we've seen Waldo get knocked out twice with boxing gloves on. I think Despain can probably clip him with MMA gloves on, but I'm watching this one from the sidelines. I'm just going to see what happens, hoping for a car crash of some sort. I think that would be fun. I'm looking forward to watching it.
Yeah, I think Roble gets fraud checked as everybody's like in a rush to give him against somebody who has grappling, somebody who throws more at it than just the boxing. And Waldo Costa has shown not just in his win, but also in his loss, but also in his wins. When a guy throws more than just boxing at him, he struggles. Arlovsky threw the leg kicks. Same with obviously the DeLima fight. Absolutely showed, and now, So you're gonna have Zhang Li to deal with possibly this fight. So we'll move on. Minus 220 to Roble right now, and you can find Waldo for plus 180. So another one of MMA Twitter's fights of the week. There's a lot of them as we keep going here, but another entertaining fight. This is I think one of the better, closer fights on the card. Alex Caceres versus Sean Woodson. Sean Woodson always going to have the wide, reach advantage. Has pretty good body work as well. Good volume. And what up, Zhang Li? Let's just say hi to the legend himself. On a heater with his parlay lately. 6-legger last week. Shout out to Zhang Li. Just had to say that. But back to this breakdown, Bruce Leroy. Also, as I think probably the better pop in his shots of these two guys, decent power himself. He's going to have to rush the distance on Sean Woodson, the bigger octagon in St. Louis, also a huge, factor, I think, potentially in this fight. With Caceres, if he shot for takedowns and went for the wrestling a little bit more, I would love his side because I do think his grappling upside could be here in this spot against Sean Woodson. He just never initiates the takedowns in the wrestling, and I can't believe he's going to here. So it leads me to believe this is going to be a close fight on the feet. I think that Caceres is going to get frustrated, could possibly be popped and put out as he's kind of rushing the distance at one point in this fight, or just kind of get picked apart to a decision. I wanted to get on the Caceres side really bad here, but I'm going to take Sean Woodson here to kind of out-volume him and take a decision. But if Caceres initiated the grappling a little bit more in the takedowns, I do think that the sub could be live, but I just don't think he's going to go that route. I think he comes up just short in a decision. So give me Sean Woodson by decision. Very not confident, not playing it. Lucky.
Yeah, we get two pretty big featherweights here. I think this is going to be a really fun fight. Good way to – or no, the last fight starting the main card, actually, I think. It should be fun. Caceres is almost 36 now. Woodson's about to turn 32. And even a guy as big as Caceres is at 145 is going to be at a size disadvantage against Woodson. Like 6'2" and 78-inch reach at 145 is insane. Like you could legit see those measurements at 205 or heavyweight. Caceres is a southpaw. He's 3-2 over his last 5. He's got better experience. There's no doubt about that. He got tons of fights, 29 UFC fights. been in there since like 2010, 2011. He's shared the octagon with guys like Sergio Pettis, Uriah Faber, Yair Rodriguez, Sadiq Youssef, Giga Chikadze in his last fight. Woodson doesn't have the same type of resume, obviously. That win over Yusuf Zalal is aging quite well. Last win over Jourdain is solid. Most of his best wins have been splits, but I mean, I feel like he definitely won both of those fights close but clear. I didn't think they should have been splits. They also have a mutual opponent of Julian Erosa. Caceres finished him in round 1, whereas Woodson got darshed in the 3rd. I think Woodson's the better boxer on the feet. Caceres, I think, is the better submission grappler. Also a good striker, too. Maybe a little bit better defensively in the striking realm. But, even though guys have been able to get Woodson down, I think that his defensive wrestling is pretty solid. I think that probably has a lot to do with his big frame. I see Woodson winning a decision with his boxing here. I feel like the price is pretty fair. I feel pretty good about the Woodson side here, so that's how I'm feeling.
Yep. All right. Fair enough. 2 cents. Do we have our first? I think this would be our first unanimous pick of the night if you go Woodson.
I don't see how you don't. I mean, unless you think Leroy subs him, which, I mean, if Woodson electric slides, you want to talk about a twiggy alien fuck. Woodson is a guy that I have faded to my own detriment for far too long, and I just got sick of eating crow. So, yeah, the pick is Woodson. Want nothing to do with it passing. But, yeah, decision in St. Louis, it's like, man, he's probably not going to get knocked out. He's probably not going to get subbed. Leroy ain't winning no fucking decision in St. Louis against fucking Sean Woodson, the hometown hero. So, yeah, give me Woodson decision. More than likely. Leroy's pretty tough, and he's kind of an electric slider too. So I imagine it'll be a glorified sparring match. Probably put everyone to sleep. Woodson decision.
Yeah, Caceres has 7 subs and 21 fights. It's he does find a way to 21 wins. Yeah, he does find a way to get it there in his wins often. But I could see it there. But yeah, again.
If you're gonna throw some crazy dart, Caceres sub probably is pretty nasty, but he'll probably have to crash the pocket to do that. And Woodson's got pretty good boxing, fights pretty good on the back foot because everyone tries to fucking do that to him. So
yeah, minus 220 to Woodson, plus 180 to Caceres, minus 280 to over 2.5. So expecting kind of a close fight here, going to a decision most likely. Next fight. Short notice, Diego Ferreira stepping up to take on Matthias Rebecki. Diego Ferreira looking like a wild man, looking like Taco Padilla coming into this week. Just, it's got the wild hair. He's a very good jiu-jitsu guy, very, very tough, good boxing as well. I feel like he's been a little bit written off. He is 39 years old. He hasn't fought since he knocked out Michael Johnson last year. Yeah, knocked out Michael Johnson last year. That was coming off a 3-fight losing skid to, split decision to Beneil Dariush, losing to Gillespie, losing to Scamrot. So, not fights I would exactly poo-poo here. So far, Rebecki kind of, came into UFC pretty hyped up, had a close fight with Fior, and then, did his thing against Oleg Rabatazov and Roosevelt Roberts. Very well-rounded, good hands, good wrestling, just good overall. It seems like getting better and better here, the Polish fighter. And, yeah, I mean, other than, I think, kind of a surprise submission here, I think that Diego Ferreira is kind of going to get worked in this fight. I think it's going to be pretty one-way traffic. The real question is whether or not Ferreira, I think, gets to the bout. I just don't know what kind of condition we see Ferreira in coming into this fight. I just think Rebecki's kind of on the rise here. I think Rebecki looks the number here. I hate that he's almost minus 400 in this fight, but yeah, and broke Jen really on the Caceres side. So this is his MMA fight of the week. It's after I said that no one had that one. So he's really on Caceres. So good for him. But yeah, I got Rebecki here. And I think he does end up playing with some ground and pound somewhere in the second, third round, perhaps. Diego Ferreira, I just think is kind of a little bit done at this point. I don't like the infrequency. I don't like that he's nearly 40. Yeah, no thanks here. 2 cents.
Yeah, so I am on Rebecki Rombetsky, however the fuck you pronounce that goddamn Polish. It's
Yeah.
such crazy language. Like in the pronunciations, it's just fucking beyond my stupid brain. But yeah, I like Mateusz, but I'm not parlaying him. What I did, and this will probably he'll probably just win a fucking decision now. But I took the knockout, so I got Rombeski or whatever the fuck by KO plus 120. I don't know if I'm not 100% convinced he wins a decision, especially if Diego like has a couple submission attempts, but the way he fights and it gets to the top position and likes to just do damage when he gets on top on the feet, I think Diego's in trouble. So yeah, give me Rebecki by knockout plus 120. But other than that, yeah, I'm just give me the pick is just Rebecki.
Locks.
Yeah, I mean, CDF is going to have some big measurable advantages here. I mean, well, I guess he's actually not that much taller, but he is way longer. He's got an 8-inch reach advantage. Also a lot older, though, at 39 compared with 31 for Rembetsky. And Rembetsky is a guy that I think the UFC quite like. I think they put this matchup together because there's kind of a pattern with CDF's losses. Like, out of the 5 losses, 4 of them kind of have a common theme. 2 losses to Derrick was taken down 3 and 5 times, respectively. Gave a good account of himself in the last one, to be fair. Like, Gillespie got him down 4 times, finished him in round 2. Gamrot got him down 4 times, finished him in round 2. Rustam Habilov got him down 3 times. CDF was actually able to get a choke in that one to win. But, Rembetsky seems like he gets everyone down, has taken everyone down so far in the UFC. And this is definitely a meaningful jump up in competition. But, I think he's able to handle it. He's priced at, minus 400, so there's not a whole lot you can really do with that. But it's Rembetsky for me. He will have to stay disciplined on the feet, but I think this is a Rembetsky spot for sure.
Yeah. No, I mean, I pretty much agree there. With the line obviously well out of line here, but still, it is what it is. Minus 395. It's gonna be in the Zhongli parlay. I'm not gonna lie, because there are no rules with the Zhongli. So, gonna move on to the next fight. Yeah, plus 310 on Ferreira. I get the dart throw. I respect it, but I think there's better dogs on the card. Next fight here, very, very interested in this one. I think this is one of the fights that I'm more intrigued with on the card. Light heavyweight fight. Lonzo Menafield, Carlos Ulberg. Right off the bat, Ulberg on the fight win streak since getting knocked out by Kennedy Njoku in his debut. Went to a decision with Fabio Cherant after that fight where he basically gassed out against Kennedy. Just wanted to prove he could go 15 minutes. But, yeah, going to a decision with Cherant 2 years ago, not impressed. Finishing Tafon Njoku, good for you. Nikolai Negreanu, by far his best win over a year and a half ago. I was at that live. Good win there, but then gets Eor, gets a knockout there, and then Da Un Young gets the submission against Da Un Young. And, I don't really know what to even say about Da Un Young at this point. Meanwhile, Alonzo Menafield, who cashed hard against the fraud check Masavar, who's now 17-13 by that point. Then he got Serkinov. He got to knock him out. Went to a draw with Crute in a bullshit fight. Then we got a gift of a line against Crute. He absolutely rolled through Crute. And then proved that he could go to decision against Dustin Jacoby. It's a fight he was losing till he wasn't towards the end of the third round. But one thing that Menafield has continued to improve in his career is definitely his cardio, his ability to go the 15 minutes. And, it's kind of interesting. That's a route that really he could go in this fight with Ulberg. I see a lot of people on the Ulberg side with the left hook. Menafield has been caught by the left hook in many of his fights. I do admit that Ulberg catching him with the left hook and putting him away wouldn't be the most shocking thing in the world. I think Menafield is the BMF in this fight, though, the better MMA fighter. I think that is really, really important. I also think he does have the experience. I get he's been knocked out by lesser strikers, but I think Ulberg has not kind of proven to me he's this prospect that I think he's being pitched as. This line is just way out of line. I liked it. I liked Menifield at plus 170. He's at plus 220 now. How do you think I feel? I've double dipped at this point. He's in the Zhongli. I like Alonzo Menifield. Wouldn't surprise me if he goes to a decision in this fight. I think that fighting kind of smart and cautiously, mixing in the grappling in this fight is the smarter route because he can get knocked out with, particularly with that left hook at any point. But Menifield can knock out Olberg, especially as this fight goes on, or submit him. Would not surprise me. Any of the three are live. So I like Menifield here in plus 220 without USADA. Give me Menifield all day long. Locks, tell me what you're thinking.
Yeah, this should be a fun fight. Menifield making a nice push at light heavyweight here. Alberg's been stacking up some wins as well. Both of them have a few impressive wins, a few freebies. Like Menifield's beaten Askar Mozharov, also beat Dustin Jacoby last fight. Alberg beat Ihor Potieria, also beat Daun Jung in his last fight. So I like the matchmaking. Menifield's on 4 straight wins with a majority draw in the middle. Alberg coming in on 5 straight wins. Menifield does have a couple questionable losses. William Knight is a little bit of a yikes, especially in a fight where he only had like 43 seconds of control time. Getting doubled up on distance strikes in the 3rd round doesn't look great to me. Devin Clark got striking him at distance, also a little bit concerning. The OSP one, although OSP just beaten Zechiku, who knocked out Alberg. So, Alberg definitely has his fair share of red flags as well. Alberg, a little bit more volume, higher output than Menifield. I do give Menifield the grappling edge in this fight. I don't know how much of that we're going to see, but I do think he's the better wrestler grappler here. I do agree with Alberg being the favorite. I think this is primarily going to be contested on the feet. I think he's a cleaner striker, but asking me to lay a minus 270 on him here is crazy. I do not want to do that. I do think it's probably dog or pass as just a pure pick. I think I'll probably pick Alberg straight up, but I don't want to be anywhere near that minus 270 number. I don't know where they found that.
Yeah, no, it's insane. And even on a pure pick, I saw Menifield, and I get it. I get the losses, the losses tonight. I get it. I've been on the Menifield side for the last 5 out. I've been pretty happy with it. I'm riding the train here against a guy in Olberg who I've been looking to fade anyways. So always straight up with my biases as well. I am a Menifield fan, and I never hide that. But I do think this is a spot where you can exploit. There's a lot of holes in Olberg's game. So 2 cents. What's your thoughts?
Ride the train, ride the wave, baby. Zoe Menifield has been a fucking wagon for your boy as well. So let's just keep on trucking. I got Alonzo Menifield pre-flop, as they say, plus 200, and I'm good with that. And let's go. I get it. Y'all broke this one down perfectly. I can't add too much. But I see a lot of people trying to shit on that Dustin Jacoby win. I'll tell you what, people, that is just some salty fucking hurt butts, because people love doing this. They love trying to fade Jacoby and Alonzo Menifield, and they just get bit in the fucking ass, and they lose their fucking ass every fucking time. But I get Olberg being the favorite. Like Lucky said, he's probably the rightful favorite. He's the more technical kickboxer. But Jacoby was the technical kickboxer too, the more technical kickboxer. And I tell you what, as much as people want to shit on that Dustin Jacoby win, Dustin Jacoby fucking smoked Da Un Jung and fucking Kennedy and Zechiku, who fucking one of them, Da Un Jung, who everyone is like, oh dude, he's a fucking fraud. Well, he took Olberg all the way to the 3rd, and Kennedy fucking knocked his ass out. So yeah, I think Olberg, if either of these 2 dudes is fraudulent, it's probably Olberg. Alonzo has way more experience. But yeah, Alonzo definitely not the most reliable fighter on planet Earth. I just think he's got pretty fucking superhuman power at this division. And yeah, dude, he's kind of got a little bit of pretty close to a fucking death touch, man. He was losing most of the fucking Jacoby fight, and then he just fucking touched him on the chin, and I think he could do that to Olberg.
The big knock on him early was he did the reason he got outstruck against William Knight in the 3rd round was he didn't have the cardio, he didn't have the gas, he's somewhat solved that, which is kind of odd because he's in his late 30s, obviously.
Yeah, if you can't see that the guy's improved, you're fucking drunk. He definitely has.
Right.
I think he fights smarter. I agree with what you said about him being the better overall fighter, probably the better grappler. And no USADA, dude. Give me Atomic Alonso.
Well, Olberg also will be enjoying no USADA.
Yeah, that's true.
This
And
probably the
he
most
is
enjoyed.
a specimen, dude. This is a superhero fight. I think it will be a really fun one. And let's go, Atomic Alonso. Fucking detonate a fucking tactical nuke on this motherfucker's chin.
Yeah, minus 270 to Olberg, crazy plus 220 to Menafield. If I have to triple dip again, I will. If it gets to plus 240 or more, I will, because I just don't agree that this fight is that wide of a line. Co-main event time. This is a fight right off the bat I wanted nothing to do with. This fight is so fucking volatile. It's so unpredictable with Nursultan Rusabov. We don't really know what the hell he is yet. He's 2-6 in decisions. We've all seen all the numbers that are touted out there about this fight. And, like with Joaquin Buckley, he's not all of a sudden this like incredibly reliable fighter, in my opinion. Like, he does have some good pop. He's on a 3-fight win streak, but the last fight was against Luque, which either Luque threw that fight or Luque literally had a brain bleed again in the middle of the fight. Like, because whatever happened in that fight, that was just odd. Didn't make any sense at all. And, it doesn't really tell me a whole lot. And then Rusabov has had 2 just real weird, fraudy type of fights to start out his UFC career. The Bruno Ferreira fight ended real quick with just a whip around, like overhand right. And then against SD Dumas, there was an eye poke, but he was kind of just schooling him. I do think that Rusabov by submission could be a sneaky play here because I do think he has a significant grappling advantage, but Buckley's never been submitted also. And he has like no neck and like nothing to tell me this isn't just going to take place on the feet. Like, and Joaquin Buckley, he's in his hometown. That'll either be a really good thing or a really bad thing. Either way, I don't know. Like, if I had to pick in this fight, I would take Joaquin Buckley. I'm not in love with Rusabov like everybody else seems to be, but the line's been shifting, and I don't really want anything to do with this fight again. But Buckley's never been submitted. Buckley's also been knocked out by DiChirico. So that if we're going to bring up old shit, if we're talking old shit, let's talk old shit. So, yeah, Joaquin Buckley, but goddamn, it's not reliable. 2 cents.
Yes, it is hard to submit a necklace man.
Yeah. You would know.
I got a little bit of action on this fight, boys. I took Nursultan inside the distance plus 175. I think that Buckley is going to try and show out, and he's an aggressive fighter. Now, yes, you can say that I was on Vicente Luque, and this is just me trying to get my get back, and that's a very fair point. I get it. I understand. But, yeah, I think Buckley, people are forgetting how, like, Buckley's been knocked out 4 fucking times. It's not just DiChirico. He got knocked out by fucking Jackie Gosh. I don't know how many people have heard of him.
Gosh.
Rob Gosh. You probably haven't.
Lucky Locks and I have heard of Jackie Gosh.
I mean, I'm sure you two characters have, but I mean, like, the humanity at large. Anyways, man, yeah, give me Nursultan here. I could see Buckley maybe. No, not really. I think Nursultan is the better striker. He's the one that's actually got more professional kickboxing and boxing experience. I think he has the better hands. Overall, I think he's a better striker and the better fighter. I could maybe see Buckley getting a robbery decision if it hits the cards, but I don't know, man. But I think Buckley's going to try and prove a point here, and I think Nursultan's going to fucking clip him and knock him out or club and sub him. So, yeah, in case Nursultan, I mean, he does like to snatch submissions and stuff. He loves fucking pulling Kimura. So I could see, even if he doesn't get that, him using to sweep and get on top of him and then just smash him. So, yeah, Nursultan inside the distance plus 175 is what I'm taking here.
You think Jackie Gosh is coming back to the Contender Series in 2024?
It wouldn't surprise me. Nothing would in this time and space. Time is a flat circle.
Absolutely. Lucky, what's your thoughts on this one? Any strong leans?
Yeah, so, Buckley called a shot for this fight, coming in on the heels of his biggest win in his career over Luque a month ago. Ruzaboya fought on that same card as well. Coming down to 170 for this one, which, maybe that would have concerned me during the USADA era. Now I feel like, there's some ways to get him to 170. I'll say that.
Yes,
I do
sir.
think Buckley's a little bit overrated. He's definitely a good fighter. I like his boxing. He's athletically gifted. He does a lot of the right things. 8-4 in the UFC. Has some filler names in there. Some good names too, though. He was 3-2, though. I mean, in Bellator before coming to the UFC. Like Tucson said, he got knocked out by Jackie Kosh. Kevin Holland is another tall, long guy that gave him some trouble. Found a KO shot on him. Kiriko knocked him out. He was beating Chris Curtis for a round and a half before Curtis knocked him out. And I think that Buckley's own punching power is a little bit overstated as well. I mean, Kasong and I got created a one-of-a-kind moment, maybe the best KO ever. I can't really say anything about that. The Luque one, Luque kind of just called it quits. I get he's had a lot of head trauma. Want to make sure he's 100% there with his family going forward. I'm not going to hold it against him too much, but that wasn't like some big, massive knockout. I mean, Andre Fialho, who didn't knock that guy out, right? Arroyo and Jordan Wright, like that's just not doing much for me to say that he's some kind of a one-hitter quitter puncher. I do think Ruzaboyev is at a decently sizable durability advantage here. I just don't think Buckley has a ton of finishing upside in this fight. I know that's kind of counter to the narrative. I mean, Ruzaboyev has had 44 fights and he's been knocked out once. And he's just an absolute finisher. Like a lot of the guys that he fought, not very good. Like, I'll grant you that, but he's been in the UFC 2 times, knocked out both guys. I think he's the more impressive grappler out of the two guys. He's training at a great room in Philadelphia. I just feel like a lot of Buckley's win equity is rooted in him winning like a 15-minute striking fight without getting bonked. And, I think he definitely could do that with boxing gloves. I'm not sure he could do that in MMA gloves. I think it's a similar dynamic to the Curtis fight where he's looking great, but the glass gets shattered some point in between, like point A and point B. So I know Buckley's at home in St. Louis, but I do think Ruzaboyev is worth a shot as the underdog. I mean, the lines come in quite a bit now. I did bet this at plus 135, Ruzaboyev. So I'm picking Nursultan. It does feel like quite a few people are doing the same, so gives you a little bit of pause, but that's where I'm at on this one.
Yeah, well argued, and gives me a bit of pause on how I complete the Zhongli now, because that was a very well stated argument. I don't know how else to put it. I definitely can see where people are coming from with Ruzabov's side, and
mixed take. Sorry not to cut you off, Aaron, but mixed take about that Buckley decision is fucking sneaky. If it does go to the cards, I would favor Buckley, especially in St. Louis. I feel like he could rob Nursultan, honestly. Like Nursultan,
I do think that's most of his win equity for Buckley is like a decision. To be fair,
yeah. So, yeah, it's just again, I think a fight that overall I'm gonna stay away from here. But I always like to note fights that shift as we're recording. A little bit of money's come in on Menafield. Menafield down to plus 215, just saying. So MMA line mover, move on over. The dog is in the town. And we're on to the main event here. And the Zhongli has been formed. And Zhongli is almost at plus 2,000. We'll see what it's at by the time the fights are up. But main event time, Derrick Lewis and Rodrigo Nascimento. This fight will not be in the Zhongli parlay. This is just kind of a fight that is another one where I'm interested to hear the different sides here. I am on Derrick Lewis's side here. I don't believe that Nascimento is going to just... I mean, his grappling has looked okay, I guess, in his last fight against Mays. He did get it, don't tail Mays down a few times with some kind of lazy takedown attempts, but I do think Derrick Lewis has a little bit better takedown defense than Don'Tale Mays for one thing. And for another, I don't think Rodrigo Nascimento likes getting hit at all. I don't think he's a big fan of hard punches. And I think at some point in the first 15 minutes, let's hope, Derrick Lewis is going to track down Nascimento, who dips his head down to the right with one of those left hooks or left upper hook. He does it all the time. He dips his head down into the right. Does it in most of his fights. Did it against Latifi over and over again as well. Nearly blew that fight against Latifi somehow when the 40-year-old Latifi just showed up a shell of a man. We don't know what Derrick Lewis is going to show up at this point. I get it, but I feel like I got a good read on Derrick Lewis. I know when to fade him, when to kind of go with him. And he's going to put away Rodrigo Nascimento at some point in the first 2 or 3 rounds. I really have to believe it. And I am going to believe it, but it's not in the Zhang Lei regardless. Derrick Lewis, KO round 2, because it pays more. Lucky.
Yeah, I think this fight is kind of like a thank you to Derrick Lewis for going to Brazil on short notice and spending an excruciatingly boring 25 minutes on his back against Gelton Almeida. I also think it's a fight where if it does go sideways and he loses, then they have a 12-1 Brazilian guy moving up the ranks that they can kind of – I feel like, the UFC can work with that. But definitely for Lewis, this is a major step down in competition from what he's been fighting. Although what I will say is, it's not like he's really shown he's been on the level of the guys in the upper echelon of the division. I mean, it's not like he was hanging in with these guys. They, they're really high-level guys in this division, made him look like a cab driver. And he's been the favorite once in his last 8 fights over a 4-year span and got knocked out by Tuivasa in that one. I don't think very highly of Tai Tuivasa, but, Lewis does carry elite power, and Nascimento is not a very good striker. Does land a bit more volume, also gets hit a lot more, and that's not good against Derrick Lewis. People do give him a hard time about these split decisions against Boser and Latifi. I mean, I don't think anybody actually thought he lost either of those. Go back and watch them, look at the media scores, etc. And that's not to say that somehow makes it impressive. It doesn't. Just saying it's not like it was some robbery fight. No. And also, I feel like I recall, prime Derrick Lewis fighting Ilir Latifi to a 29-28 as well. Nascimento, to make a case for him, he's a lot younger. He's the grappling upside. I think he's a little bit faster. He's on a different trajectory in his career. I mean, Lewis is not getting the belt back at 39. He's doing commercials. But to get behind Nascimento, you got to trust him not to get bonked for as long as this one lasts. And I don't trust him. I don't like how he looks standing. I don't think he has great wrestling. But, the line did open up at a pick'em. Lewis isn't getting a ton of respect from the book here. And when I first started looking into this fight on paper, I was kind of considering Nascimento, but the more I look into it, I just can't do that because, for the simple fact that he kind of sucks. I just think Derrick Lewis is not that great either at this point. I think that these two are a little bit closer in level than people are willing to admit. Does Derrick Lewis probably slump this guy at some point? Yeah, probably. But he is the less reliable minute winner. Not that I really expect that to matter, but I wouldn't be totally shocked to see him fumble and get his guard sliced like butter and quit doing arm triangle or something. Yeah, but I'm just not willing. I'm not willing to die on that hill. Basically, Nascimento is just nowhere near trustworthy enough for me. There's also too many red flags for me to want to say minus 170 on Lewis, a guy that's generally good to bet as a dog, not a favorite. But yeah, this is kind of a circumlocutory way of me saying I'm passing.
Yep.
On this fight.
Yep, pretty much the same. I have one parlay with him and another, the other heavyweight in Roble, and that's pretty much where I just left it with the plus money on that one. I don't advise anybody else follow me in that. 2 cents. What's your thoughts on the main event here?
My first thought, sir, is definitely y'all smash the like button. Shout out to everyone in the chat, but smash the like button. Dude, Lucky and Aaron are just blessing y'all. Lucky is just a genius for all these pass spots, dude. This is a card where you pick your spots and then you kick back and watch the rest because it's going to be very fucking violent. I've been pretty fucking good at picking Derrick Lewis fights. If anybody has watched my channel or paid attention to watch the anytime there's a Derrick Lewis fight on this channel or anything, I think my one hiccup in the last few years, honestly, has been Tai Tuivasa, and he hurt Tai and almost got him out of there too. But yeah, my breakdown for this fight will be very fucking short and sweet. Yes, I have bet Derrick Lewis. He is the anchor of my 2-piece, chalky, don't think about it, just fucking, I think both of these dudes win, and I just bet it, early in the week. So it's him and Slava plus 175. But yeah, my breakdown, like I said, will be short and sweet. Y'all remember what Chris Dawkins did to Rodrigo Nascimento? Well, wait till y'all see what Derrick Lewis does to this motherfucker. There you go. Lewis by KO.
Yeah, and like Nascimento cuts down to 265. Both these guys cut down to 265. So it's going to be very low volume, like very tired rounds after the first 2 rounds too. Let's hope it doesn't go much farther than that. But yeah, Lewis currently he is at a minus 170 plus 140 over to Nascimento. We'll go around the panel, have kind of some closing thoughts. We do have the Zhang parlay. Has hit 3 out of the last 6. So that's a 50% clip, averaging about a plus 2,800 on that parlay. And the parlay for this week is at a plus 2061, so just lowered because yes, Alonzo Menafield is anchoring that parlay, and he went down to a plus 215. But we are starting the Zhang with a ladies fight, which does agree with the coin. Is Tisha Torres plus 125 in there? I went between Borishev and Ribovic for the second leg in the parlay. I ended up going with the Borishev side. I'm going to just trust my read here, but could end up regretting that one. Ribovic was considered, but will not make the Zhang. Roble, I do have in there. I'm sorry, Matthias Rebecki. And then ending it with Menafield at plus 215 for a plus 2061 on the Zhang. Put $5 down on it, put $25 down on it, whatever you want. It's definitely already paid for itself for the year if you've been trailing it. But Zhang Li is all I got to say. We'll be back next week. Lucky, anything you want to plug or mention before we take off?
Yeah, well, I'll just say, as always, thanks for having me on. Always a fun time to chop it up. Feeling pretty good right now. My Rangers are up 2-0 on the Canes, so I'm liking that. But yeah, as always, you guys can find me on Twitter at LuckyLuxPicks. You can find my BetMMA.tips in my bio there. And yeah, that's all I got to plug. Thanks for having me on. It was a good show.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming back on. Great to have you back in the fold, Lucky, and appreciate the insight as always. 2 cents. Appreciate you. What do you got the rest of the week, my friend?
First of all, thank you as always for having me, sir. This is truly like such a good time and one of the highlights of my week every single time. So, man, make sure y'all smash the like button for Aaron and subscribe to this channel if you haven't. Lucky, always a pleasure to be on stream. And yeah, man, shout out to everyone in the chat. Best of luck to all you guys. I will be back with the boys on the Locker Room Talk podcast tomorrow. So another episode of that will be available for download, and also doing a live premiere on Pub Sports Radio's channel later tomorrow night. And then I'll be back on my channel Saturday to pregame, and then I will be back at Pub for another live betting stream. So that's my Saturday night. And yeah, man, I'll bet y'all can obviously like find me in the Dome, and yeah, find me on Twitter at J_my2cents. But yeah, man, thanks again, Aaron, and Lucky. Everyone else, man, best of luck. And yeah, let's fucking get it, man. Let's have another good week.
Yeah, bro, DGen, I'll be honest. It takes too much. It takes a lot of time. So when I put out the videos, that means I had the time to put in for the regional scene, but real life does take place. So if I'm not putting out the video, it just means I don't have the time to put it out, but do my best to do that. But we'll be back for the UFC every single Wednesday night. So we'll see you guys next week. Good luck this weekend. Peace out, everybody. Thank you, Mick. Thank you, Juan Cruz. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Mushroom, for popping up here randomly tonight. And a few of these other, like,
Mushroom?
The Broke D-Gen popped up talking about Wheezy. I don't know why these other cappers are being brought up, but great. Thanks for making it to the show. Peace out, everybody. And I'm not in it for the clicks either. So, Broke D-Gen, I appreciate the advice, but yeah, I do this for fun.